as we begin this journey today, we are going to start with some of the music that Sylvia loved. And this one is one that many of you know well, made famous by Audrey Hepburn in the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's. Moon River, please feel free to join in.
So just the memory of a coal miner's daughter.
She was born a coal miner's daughter and was so many other things. She was born in Kentucky and will be buried in a family cemetery there, but today we remember her in Knoxville, Tennessee. In this hour of holy stillness, we gather to honor the life of Sylvia Smith. We remind ourselves of the blessing of her life. We offer ourselves for the sharing of the weight of each other's grief. We offer the strength of love to help others survive through pain and grief. We call forth from each other the power we offer out of life, out of loss, out of love, in this hour of holy stillness. We worship together. I invite you to turn in your gray hymnal to responsive reading 468. I'll say the first words and invite you to join in the words in italics. We need one another when we mourn and would be comforted. We need one another when we are in despair and temptation and need to be recalled to our best selves again. We need one another in the hour of success when we look for someone to share our triumphs. We need one another in the hour of defeat when we encourage and endure and stand again. We need one another when we come to die and would have gentle hands prepare us for the journey. All our lives we are in need, and others are in need of us. Now have some reflections from members of the water aerobics class, Alice Lambert, Barbara Carmichael, and Emily Black. Come forward.
We've changed the program order a little bit. I'm Emily Black, and I'm going to read a poem that I wrote for Sylvia in the spring of this year. In the spring of the year for Sylvia. She's radiant as a sunbeam, so slender and fit. We love to watch her fun-loving antics in our pool fitness class. She is absent from class today. She's in the hospital. Her husband tells me everything is hard now. But the hardest thing, he says, is how much their cat misses her. Always, even in bad times, she trails beauty and a sense of peace. At her home, glorious lavender-colored irises bloom in striking clumps, some to welcome visitors at the driveway entrance, some grow in profusion by a garden gate. Some just seem to linger on grassy knolls. I imagine her at home, playfully engaging in daily routines, stroking her cat while sorting laundry, giggling over a new veggie dish that didn't come out just quite right. I see her in the pool with us, gliding smoothly, as always, free of any physical limitations. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alice Lambert, and I'm starting us off from the water class. Last Sunday, Cindy Mayhew, Barbara, and I met with representatives from this church to help plan this celebration. And on behalf of our class, we want to thank you for allowing us to participate today. In late February of 2017, I ran into Cindy Mayhew at the gym, of course, and told her I was going to be having a hip replacement. She told me I needed to come to the water class because it would help me keep my strength up and take the weight off of my hip as I prepared for surgery. Now, I thought this was going to be an easy class because I was doing high-impact cardio classes at the time, but I went. And on the back row, the person I stood next to was this very slender woman who was in this very bright, colorful swimsuit with a swim cap on, goggles, and was putting in earplugs. She introduced herself. She was our Sylvia. She asked me in a few minutes if I had equipment, which I did not. Now we're standing in 4 feet, 7 inches of water, and she hops out on the deck like we're standing on one of these steps and goes and gets me my equipment and brings it back to me. So during the class, standing next to her, it was hard not to watch her. She's putting in 200% into this class. She has the weights going, she's in constant motion, legs are going, she's marching, she's doing everything. So of course, you know, the competition is on. And I had to try to keep up with her. So by the end of the class, I thought, okay, she just showed me how hard I can make this class. And wow, that was a workout. And over the years and over the next coming weeks, we became friends, and we talked about our backgrounds. Both art teachers and artists, animal lovers and advocates. We discussed her long road to being a vegetarian. We shared recipes and our love of flowers and gardening. She was very creative and always had good suggestions on how to do something. We loved brainstorming art projects and recipes. And during these times, she would get this sparkle in her eyes as the creative juices were flowing, and you just knew that she had this zest for life. In gathering memories to share, there were some that came up repeatedly. Her swimsuits, always cute or colorful, with water shoes that matched or coordinated along with swim caps. Another one was that she told almost everyone in the pool that Roger, her husband, was a jeweler and not to wear jewelry in the pool. Of course, we all had to confirm this with another jeweler, but we did learn it was true. And this was so strong an impression on me that a couple of weeks ago, I look over and Roger has his gold wedding band on, and I'm thinking, what? Is this allowed? So I went over and asked him, are you allowed to wear your gold wedding ring, you know, and a gold band in the pool? He said, yes, just as long as there's no stones. Another one that we remember is that she was always very put together. She could take clothes and just come out with the right outfit together, including shoes and hats. Her creative and artistic influence definitely showed. And we remembered a lot of those hats, and of course you'll see we're wearing them today in her memory. She loved Roger, and they were very cute together, dancing in the pool and taking care of each other. She also loved to sing, and I will never hear the song, It Ain't My Fault, without hearing her voice singing, I need a witness who can testify, I'm only guilty of a damn good time. Because she had a zest for life, and she handled the down times with grace and strength. She found the beauty in the ugly. Our class has evolved over the years to become a family. We started with lunch and games outside of class, but as lunch grew, the games kind of went by the wayside. Sylvia was a part of this and of this transition of helping us become a family, and she loved meeting for lunch and including Roger whenever she could. And now I would like to read some memories that were written down by others in the class. This is from Marjorie. Remember how Sylvia was there at 4'6" marker with her confident, beautiful smile. Remember how she would have chosen one of her signature colorful swimsuits. It was always both stylish and functional for the high-energy aqua fitness class she awaited. Remember how she would encourage Roger and make sure he had all his equipment. She would stay right by him, dancing with him to the pre-class music. Remember how she was very friendly and social, even very welcoming, but make no mistake, Sylvia was an aqua fitness to work out and have fun with Roger and her fellow classmates. She would begin a high-knee jog and wave her gloved hands to and fro in a big swish until the downbeat of the first warm-up routine. Remember how there was no one in the pool who could match Sylvia's grace, her speed, her skill, her playfulness, no matter what came next in the workout. I'm cherishing these memories and so many more with each of you as we celebrate the truly remarkable life of our friend, Sylvia Smith. May God give comfort and peace to all her family and friends gathered today. Now Barbara's going to read some. Can you get up here with me?
And this is how I remember Miss Sylvia. I always remember Sylvia as a kind, very generous, and fun-loving friend. Oh, okay. I'll always remember Sylvia as a kind, very generous, and fun-loving friend. She helped my mentee, Flora, my little sister and big brother and sisters, along with her siblings. Sylvia gave them many of her beautiful menagerie of swimsuits. It was very rare to see Sylvia in the same swimsuit more than once at water aerobics. And she was so beautiful in each one of them. She could have easily won Miss Senior Beauty Queen in any of her pretty swimsuits, along with her talent of creating sculpture and her poise and charming personality. Sylvia gave Flora many jewelry beads and pieces to Flora so that she could make bracelets and necklaces to sell at fairs so she could learn about entrepreneurship. Sylvia also met with me once to teach me how to sculpt with ivory soap so that I could pass the skill on to Flora. And when I told her Flora had learned to swim, sweet Sylvia gave me swim fins to give to her so she could become a strong swimmer. And when we searched all over town for a special red jacket that Flora needed, Sylvia gave her a very nice one. Needless to say, my little Flora was thrilled to receive all of Sylvia's precious gifts. And in the water, as Sylvia and Roger held each other and danced and twirled in the water, you could feel the love emanating between them. I would whisperingly joke to her and say, "Y'all need to get a room." She would love to crack jokes, especially to song lyrics, improvising. She'd sing, "Some people claim there's a woman to blame, but I know it's all Roger's fault." Or she'd point to her hairline when Alan Jackson sang, "She's gone country, back to her roots." She'd point to her roots. She was definitely a kidder, and we shared many laughs together. I will miss her very much. I thank Jesus for the blessing of her friendship. The world would be a much better place with more kind, generous, and jovial hearts like dear Sylvia.
From Becky, I met Sylvia at the Walker Springs swimming pool many years ago. Sylvia loved the water and was very adept at moving through it, whether we were exercising or she was swimming her laps. She often did both the same day. She was fun to be around and always ready to laugh with you. Sylvia loved a bargain and was always telling me about things we could do for free. She introduced me and several others in the class to free luncheons at the World's Fair site. These were very nice luncheons with linen tablecloth, waiters, very good food. They were given by a local hospital. They provided doctors to talk to us about different topics to make our lives better and to keep us healthier. Sylvia also encouraged us to attend potluck luncheons at a senior citizen center. These outings were always fun and quite informative. We also enjoyed going out to eat together. Sylvia always looked very put together in her outfits. She bought many of these outfits on sale or at thrift stores. She was very talented with her sewing machine and could turn these into beautiful one-of-a-kind outfits. Her bubbly personality was shown through her clothes and her laughter. She was always ready to sing along with the music in the swimming class and share her joy with those around her. We will miss her very much.
This is from Joy. one of the most joyful couples I've ever met. I love to see them play at water aerobics. Sylvia riding on Roger's back and their constant close proximity to each other. I could tell they really loved each other. Sylvia wore blue earplugs. One day, one blue earplug went floating by me in the pool. I grabbed it and took it to Sylvia. She was so happy it wasn't lost. We will miss those days always. We love you, Sylvia, and we'll check in on Roger for you.
Sylvia, this is from Cindy. Sylvia, our bright light, a spring in her step, always dressed to the nines, most often with a matching hat or visor. Sylvia was always singing, dancing, and working double time in our fitness classes. She's one of the strongest people I've ever called friend, strong for her mom, her brother, for Roger. She was always motivating us to be the best that we could be. Thank you, Sylvia, for being one of our angels now watching over us. We still feel your spirit in the aqua fitness class.
This is from Marty. I always admired her confidence and energy. I will forever remember her for letting me know that chlorine could cause my diamond to fall out and try to live up to her expectations. Rest, Sylvia. Your work here is done and will be remembered.
I, like many of you, have lost family members to cancer and friends. It's an awful disease that steals so much from the person and their family and their friends, not just at the end, but as it progresses. There is a last lunch together, a last workout, a last conversation, and you don't always realize it will be the last. Eventually, though, you reach a point where you want that person's suffering to end, even though it means you won't have them in your life. This was true for Sylvia. We will always miss her and remember her. We will hear her in songs that will bring a smile to us and a warm spot in our hearts. We will see her in flowers and, of course, hats. And wherever she is, she will look down and know how much she was loved.
As an intro to this song, I will say that I happened to be with Sylvia and family as we were getting ready to move to the hospice center. And her friends put on some nice tight pants and a nice jacket. And she said, as she sat on the edge of the bed, "I need a hat." And so I said, "Well, where are they?" She said, "Well, they're everywhere. I have a hat fetish." And so I went out to talk to Roger after looking everywhere. He opened a closet, and there they were, hats everywhere. And then later, as we all have spoken of how classy she is, and how she had nice, subtle, sweet, gentle ways of helping us each look classier. As we were leaving the hospice center, the nurses needed a list of personal items, and so she was resting in her room, and I went back in her room. There she is, very quietly, and I reached up her arm gently to see about a bracelet, and then I put her little stuffed cat up next to her, and she said, "Oh, you would make a good nurse." And as I leaned over her, she goes, "What are you going to do with your hair?" This is for our Rose, who also helped us each breed a rose.
Some say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Some say love, it is a hunger, an endless aching need. I say love, It's the heart afraid of breaking that never learns to dance. It's the dream afraid of waking that never takes the chance. It's the one who won't be taken, who cannot seem to give, and the soul afraid of dying that never learns to live. When the night has been too lonely and the road has been too long, and you think that love is only for the lucky and the strong, just remember in the winter, far beneath the bitter snows, lies the seed that with the sun's blood in the spring becomes the rose.
Next, we have speakers from the church. We have Bob Grimmick from the Vegetarian Society, Leo Sage and Jackie Courtney from Personal Beliefs and Commitments. And if you'll come forward, I want to read 2 remembrances before you start. This is from Wendy, Sylvia's stepdaughter, who wrote, I met Sylvia 23 years ago as my dad's girlfriend. Later, she became his wife. They were a wonderful couple in love. My son Alec and I loved Sylvia right away. She especially loved coming to visit us in South Florida. She loved sunrise walks on the beach, collecting shells. Sylvia enjoyed going to many nature preserves and bird watching. Sylvia was not a mother to me, she was more of a friend. She and I shared a passion for art, especially painting and pottery. We also talked about teaching and shared stories. Sylvia loved sharing her clothes with me and putting together my outfits. She also loved thrift stores and garage sales together. She brought me to Knoxville Unitarian Universalist Church several times, and I loved the peaceful ambiance. I will truly miss Sylvia and her love. And next is from Betty Baumgartner. Sylvia and I were like family. She always said that Leo was her brother and I was her cousin, Cousin Betty. I liked it. It wasn't unusual for us to tell each other that we loved each other at some point when we got together. We were confidants. I trusted her to give me honest feedback. In return, she said she could talk to me without judgment on my part. I liked the fact that she was equally nice to the average person. You can tell a lot about someone's character by the way the person treats others.
Is it working? Yes, it is. My name is Bob Grimmick, and I'm honored to have been Sylvia's friend for a long, long time. I have a question for you. How many people love Sylvia? How many people think she's the greatest, most beautiful, cheerful person you could ever meet? We've got to carry on her love, don't we? We really do. I'm going to miss her. I did not paint this painting. Sylvia was a painter. You saw her paintings in the hallway, in the lobby. But Sylvia did not paint this. It came from the Our Ladies of Charity thrift shop. I bought it for $5. If Sylvia had seen it, she would have gotten it for $4. I'm glad I'm not the first person to bring up the thrift shop connection. When Sylvia realized she had terminal cancer, she called me in April and she said, "Can I clear out my car?" She wants to start cleaning out her house. So I cleaned out my car, which is very difficult to do. And she gave me 7 items to take home. Among them were some brown pillows. And I took all the things she gave me and I dropped some of them off at the thrift shop. I didn't need them. A week later, she said, "Bob, I want those brown pillows back." Sylvia, you hate to make Sylvia mad. I said, "I really don't know where those are." "Where did you leave them?" I said, I think it may have been in the car on Kingston Pike near the O'Reilly Auto Center. And she got Roger in the car and they went on a field trip to every thrift shop up and down Kingston Pike. "Roger, did you all find those pillows?" She wanted them for Roger. She loved Roger so much. I hope she found those brown pillows. But this painting does remind me, though, of Sylvia because it seems like to her the world was a big canvas. And she would spread flowers and smiles and twinkling stars everywhere. Who agrees with that? Who remembers seeing a smile in Sylvia's face and she spread it around? Big flowers remind me of Sylvia. During the pandemic, I saw her at Lowe's, and I was buying light bulbs or something. She was buying plants for this very church. She said, "Our church does not have enough live plants," and she bought a whole bunch of live plants and put them in different places around the building. I think it's very appropriate today that our beautiful art gallery is filled with whimsical, beautiful animals. Have you all seen them? Walk slowly to the reception hall when you leave here because they're just incredible. Incredible cows, purple cows, pink pigs, dancing chickens, singing elephants in the hallway. And Sylvia really would have approved of that. The Vegetarian Society was started, I think, in 1983, and I was involved maybe 35 years ago, and Sylvia came along a few years after that. So I've known her a long time. I know she came to the conclusion at some point, she said, "Bob, I just decided I did not want to eat anything with a face." And I know it took her a long time to give up shrimp, because she said she really couldn't see the face on a shrimp. But she finally decided to cut shrimp off her diet. Sylvia and Roger were both incredible volunteers for the Vegetarian Society. We started meeting in the old building down Kingston Pike, and since this building opened in 1997, we've been having first Sunday of the month vegetarian classes and potluck dinners. We sell lifetime memberships for $300, in case you're interested. But Sylvia and Roger, after 20 years of volunteerism, 20 years, we gave them a lifetime membership. And that means they could sit on the front row for the tofu cooking classes. And they got free admission to everything we ever did. Roger's role for 20 years was to wash our dishes. And he retired from that about 5 years ago, and that position is still open if anybody wants to take it. We have not been able to find anybody who will commit to 20 more years of dishwashing, because we don't use throwaway plates. We did give him the Golden Dish Rag Award, and it may still be in your house somewhere, Roger. Sylvia's main job was to help us decorate. Up until the pandemic, we had these incredible vegetarian Thanksgivings. We'd rent gymnasiums, the Seventh-day Gymnasium down the street. And Sylvia would show up 4 hours early with a carloads of pumpkins and scarecrows and bales of hay that she got from thrift shops, by the way. And she would just make our vegetarian Thanksgivings very, very special. So Roger will continue to hold that lifetime vegetarian membership. We'll give him a front row seat on the next tofu cooking class. We start meeting here again the first Sunday of October. Sylvia was reluctant to share her cooking skills. It took a long time to convince her to cook for us, but about 6 years ago she did. She made black bean burgers. And I think we should have a black bean burger fest, because they were the best. We should remember her with her black bean burgers. But when one of the TV stations called and said we would like a vegetarian cooking class, Sylvia put on an apron and a hat, and she was on television, live at 5 at 4, I think they call it. And so Sylvia is remembered through that cooking class. When you go into the reception hall and have vegetarian food, a lot of cheese sandwiches, I heard. Sylvia's cookbook collection is in there. And Sylvia asked me to share all those books with you. There's a thrift shop connection there too, though. Because in June, she said, Bob, you better get down here within 24 hours to get those books or they're going to the thrift shop, the Amvet's thrift shop. So I got down to her house and she gave me all these wonderful books, and she would like you to take one home. Learn how to cook your tofu and broccoli and asparagus, please. Everybody, I did not paint this painting. Sylvia did not paint this painting. It came from the Our Ladies of Charity thrift shop for $5. But today, in the reception hall, I'm selling it for $50,000. And you're laughing, but it's not a joke. I would like to be known as the aging vegetarian who made a $49,000 profit from a thrift shop purchase. And we want to continue Sylvia's legacy in good works. If you've been paying attention to the beautiful words that people have written about her, she wants to share her legacy with the Tennessee Valley Unitarian Church, with the Vegetarian Society. She told me 20 years ago, she said, Bob, when I die, the Vegetarian Society will be in my will. And I never thought that would come to be, that she would die. She wanted to share her wealth with the Young Williams Animal Center and the Feral Feline Friends. Cat Women Unite. You're getting some of Sylvia's wealth. Sylvia believed in health, and she wants to share her wealth and legacy with the lung cancer research, the Mental Health Association, and Alzheimer's. So somebody, please, if you brought a checkbook, $50,000, we're going to get a certified accountant to overlook the distribution of the wealth to carry on the name of Sylvia Smith. Thank you. Let's give a round of applause for Sylvia. Give it to Sylvia.
I knew Sylvia for over 50 years. We were kindred spirits. We shared secret emotions. We both had experiences in our early life that was painful and disorienting. We helped each other deal with those emotions, and that was one of our bonds. I first met Sylvia when I was an undergraduate student at ETSU. I was sitting around the lunchroom and we had one of the students come up and say, "We've got a girl from Ohio State that's come down to take classes. She's never been an art student." And I thought, my goodness. But a few moments later, when I went into the building and actually met her for the first time, I was overwhelmed. We learned quickly that she was smart, talented, and full of enthusiasm and energy. And that smile could light up the class. She was real, genuine, curious, and exciting about the experiences of learning. She helped me be a better person, not just a better student. One thing you may not know about Sylvia, when I was a graduate student working on my degree, I was trying to get a ticket so I could teach on the college level. I was playing the paper game. I loved art. I wanted to do that, but I was playing a game. She challenged tenured professors She asked questions that no one else would ask. And she gave me a new perspective on working for my degree. With that experience, we graduated and we went on with our lives, and we both became teachers. She taught 6th grade. I taught high school. She was offered a college job at one time when we went to a program up in New York to look for jobs. She was offered a job. She decided not to take that particular one. Circumstances for me ended up, I was teaching in Knoxville here in high school, and I loved it. It was a wonderful career. But Sylvia, as a teacher, passed on those wonderful qualities. She empowered generations of students with her knowledge, her wisdom, her kindness. That part of her will never die. It is in her students, it's in their knowledge, and hopefully they will pass it on to the people that they encounter. You know, of course, we just heard that Sylvia was a vegetarian. She was a vegetarian because she thought it was wrong to kill an animal and eat it. 200 years from now, no one will eat animals. No one. She knew that early. She loved the beauty in nature, art, music, and friendships. As my dear friend Roger knows, she could love deeply. But most of all, she was courageous. She never gave up at any time in her life. As she battled that horrible disease, cancer, I was in the room when the doctor said that her chances were very slim if she continued chemo. And she said, "Do I have any chance?" He said, "A very slight one, very slight." And she said, "I'll take it." Because she did not want to give up life. She loved it, and she wanted to stay here with Roger and her friends. So she continued the battle, and it resulted in 20 days in UT Hospital with her literally fighting for her life after the second chemo. And then she realized it was time. I want to end with a quote. I must say this. Her courage is but one of the reasons I loved her so much. This quote is from Atticus. Her courage was her crown, and she wore it like a queen. Thank you.
So many people. I knew there would be, because we are, after all, honoring Sylvia and supporting Roger. Two terrific people. My name is Jackie Courtney, and I first met Roger and Sylvia about 12 years ago. When I first started attending a class here in the church called Personal Beliefs and Commitments. PB&C. First impressions, we all have them, and I recall seeing Roger and Sylvia walk into the classroom and sit down on one of the sofas next to each other, where they always sat next to each other. Sylvia, besides being beautiful, was so poised and, as we've heard, so stylish. Roger, obviously handsome, but I was immediately taken by his smile, tight-lipped and enigmatic. More than once, I remember thinking, wonder what's going through his mind right before he smiles like that. So once after class, Sylvia and I were talking. Roger was standing nearby, of course, and Roger smiled, and I said, Sylvia, what's going on with that smile? Is that a shy smile, or is that a mischievous smile? She looked at me and said, yes. And she laughed, and I laughed, and Roger laughed. It was great. Through the years, Sylvia's sense of humor, as we've heard about here, is one of the things I appreciated about her and admired. Her intelligence and her honesty, her graciousness, her kindness, and her strength. In PB&C, we share a variety of topics, and that evokes many different emotions. But almost always, there's humor. During a class earlier this year, I don't remember who it was. I could probably guess, Leo, but somebody made a joking comment, and there was some chuckling and some laughing, and then I heard this sound that I momentarily didn't recognize. I knew it had to be laughter, but it wasn't like anything I'd ever heard. So I turned toward the sound, and I saw Sylvia. She had her head slightly tilted back, and her hands were spread apart and slightly raised in her lap. There was an expression of pure joy on her lovely face. And this laugh, this musical, this perfect laugh. All too quickly, that moment passed, but I couldn't take my eyes from her, and I can still hear that musical laugh of pure joy, just like it's happening right now. After class, I saw Sylvia, and I complimented her on her laugh. Well, she was a little surprised, but she graciously accepted the compliment, and I'm sure she forgot very quickly about those few minutes in class. But I don't think I'll ever forget it. It was one of those unexpected moments in life when your senses become heightened, and you know and can appreciate that something precious has just happened. And for me, I know that that was as close as I'll ever get to hearing an angel laugh. Thank you, Sylvia.
Before I say anything about Sylvia, I want to say something about her friends. In her last days, whenever I went to visit her, the room was always full of people, and I met so many different people, there's no way I'll be able to remember everyone's name. But as Jeffrey Rogers' brother said, they don't grow friends like that in Florida. Got really good friends, and the love and support and encouragement that was surrounding her in her last days, that gap between diagnosis and death was so short, and so many people rallied to be supportive of her. On Sunday, when we were planning this service, someone introduced herself as Sylvia's favorite neighbor. A contest ensued, a friendly contest about exactly who was Sylvia's favorite neighbor, but suffice it to say, she made us all feel special. Her nickname at water aerobics was Dolphin, and she inspired more than one poem. Here's another poem, and I'm not even sure the author. It's called Water Sprite for Sylvia. She's as radiant as a sunbeam, so slender and fit, glides through water like a dolphin, buoyant in body and spirit. She swims as if water were her home. She's as graceful as a swan, a silver-white swan, regally drifting on a surface that's still as a mirror. She brings to life the power of thought, dredged from the stuff of fantasy. Emily Black. Okay, another wonderful poem by Emily. She was the best dressed woman in any room, and as Water Aerobics said, she never wore the same swimsuit twice. I can tell you a picture of her closet is worth 1,000 words. I stood inside of it and was struck with awe. All the different combinations, all the different colors, and all the different shoes. But what she wore every day was a statement. It was her work of art. She was an artist, and she brought that sensibility to it. She got a Master's of Fine Arts in sculpture, and she became an art teacher. She never had any biological children, but she said, I raised many children as a teacher. And she brought mothering energy to her friendships. A lot of us felt like we were her adopted children. And she knew how important mothering is. When I visited her in the hospital for the first time, she said, my mom died at age 92, but I need her more now than ever. Our need for a mother's love never dies. And she brought that love in her friendship. She brought that love in her teaching. She loved jewelry, and she found a real jewel in Roger. Roger was one of her teachers at ETSU. No surprise, it was a jewelry class. 25 years later, they met again in Knoxville, and he said to her, you haven't changed a bit. Sylvia played hard to get it first, and Sylvia said, Roger never let me forget it. But the attraction was there because he was nice and kind, and these are her words, he was really good looking. There was a real partnership of creativity, artistry, love. They were married over 20 years. Roger was raised in the Jewish tradition. She was raised in the Christian tradition, so they sought out the Unitarian Universalist Church to be a place where both could be at home and get connected. And boy, were they ever at home. Active participants in the personal beliefs and commitments class, and the art gallery committee, and many other aspects. We all looked forward to seeing what Sylvia might wear to as a costume for the Halloween party at Bill Cherry's. When I visited her in the hospital, she said that she had been approached by some overly aggressive evangelists who were worried about her soul. But she said, she told me, I'm good with God. I don't need someone to preach to me. I need someone to sit with me visit with me. And that's exactly what I did, and I know it's exactly what so many in this room did, sitting with her and visiting with her. She told me about someone she once knew who was very compassionate and gentle and kind. He was like Jesus, she said, until he got religion. And then he became hard and rigid and judgmental. And as she was telling me this story, I was reminded of something the Quaker teacher William Penn once said: "Our notions about Christ are not as important as our likeness to Christ." I think Sylvia would have agreed with the Dalai Lama when he said, "My true religion is kindness." And that was Sylvia's religion: kindness, compassion, friendship. Her childhood dog Spider was a source of comfort for her during troubled times during her childhood, and later she had many dogs and later cats. Her interest in animal welfare was an important part of her decision to become a vegetarian. And I watched that WBIR show where she appeared on the cooking show, and she was a natural. She was like Knoxville's Julia Child, or Knoxville's vegetarian Julia Child. She loved to decorate, and she would decorate this church on special occasions in her house during different seasons and the Vegetarian Society dinners. And she had a great sense of humor. Once there was a medical emergency at the house, and an ambulance came, and all the EMTs filled the room. And Sylvia said, "Roger, go get a camera. This is the first time I've had 5 men in my bedroom." And one of our, And in one of our last visits, I said something, and you got to remember, she was mostly spending time all day in the chair on an oxygen machine, but always holding court, visiting with people, but pretty much sitting in a chair. And I said something that made her laugh so hard, she stood up. She just stood up. And here's how it went. She said, "Chris, I want you to go look at my porch." So I got up from the living room and I walked out to that porch, and it's a beautiful porch. I mean, really lets the outdoors into the inside, and there's works of art and sculpture everywhere, and it's just a beautiful place. And I went back to her and I said, "I love your porch." And she said, "I really love my porch too." And then she told me, "I was thinking about getting a facelift. But then I decided what I really wanted was a porch instead." And I said to Sylvia, "Sylvia, just listening to that story makes my face lift." And that's what did it. She stood up laughing and laughing and laughing like a dolphin springing out of the water, buoyant in body or spirit. She was the dolphin. She was an artist. She was an educator. She was a gardener. She was a decorator. She was a fashionista. She was radiant as a sunbeam. She was graceful as a swan. She was a coal miner's daughter. She was many things, but most important of all, she was our friend. I invite you to join with me in the responsive reading that you'll find in the order of service. Your words are simple: we remember her. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember her. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember her. In the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember her. In the blueness of the skies and in the warmth of summer, we remember her. in the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, in the beginning of the year and when it ends, whenever we swim through the water like a dolphin, buoyant and free, whenever we create or behold a beautiful work of art, whenever we have trouble deciding exactly which outfit to wear, whenever we have more than one favorite neighbor, so long as we live, she too shall live, for she is a part of us as we remember her. I invite you to come to a reception after the service. You will see pictures of Sylvia and Roger at many different stages of life, childhood pictures, family pictures, and it's a chance to tell stories. There will be a microphone available if anyone has any additional stories to tell. So in a moment, I will extinguish this chalice, but none of us can extinguish the light of Sylvia Smith. It continues to shine in us and will go forth with us as we leave today. Oh, Roger wants to say something. Okay, come on.
I just wanted to say that Sylvia was a fantastic woman, and I will miss her so much. And our lives have completely changed now, and I don't know what else to say, but it's just a tough time, and just keep on trucking. That's all you can do. We love you,
We want to give Roger a head start, heading toward the reception, and the rest of us can stay for our postlude.
You're always on my I just never took the time.